being an entrepreneur sounds cool, but the reality of building a business is very, very difficult. Every level that you hit, there's a lot of things that suck that you just won't want to do. What you're capable of is on the other side. I don't feel like it.
And if you're committed to what it is that you're trying to do, nothing is going to stop you from getting there.
Welcome back to another episode of Real Business Owners with myself, Trevor Cowley. Today, we have double guests. I haven't done a double guest in a while, so you guys are helping me go back to my roots. Back in the day, you said you listen to all the podcasts. Sometimes we would have partners or whatever, husband, wife. Yeah. I don't know if we've ever had a father and a son, but we've got Travis Larsen and Kaidden Larsen on the show today. They is he an owner? Or are you the owner at this point of Travis Larsen Construction?
He does have his own license and his own business and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Separately.
Yeah.
I'm the owner of the business, and I pay him through his business.
Oh, gotcha.
Tax strategy, right?
Yeah.
So I pay.
So you pay his entity, and then you roll deductions through your entity to help reduce your income.
100%.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
A way to get the way for tax purposes.
Yeah.
We're going that way. And he does his own jobs, you know what I mean?
Some side stuff or whatever. Yeah.
It's giving.
How long have you guys been working with each other? Like, I mean, obviously you probably been hanging out with Pops. Yeah. I was going to say going to different sites for many, many years, but like, was there like a point in time where there was like a real conversation that was had that's like, yo, I want to work side by side with you, or you going to him saying, hey, I want you to come in and help me with my company? How did that
So it really kind of transpired about 2014 is how I remember it. We were building a cabin in Bryan Head. Life was pretty low point, you know what I mean? Just coming out of the Great Depression of construction. Just went through a divorce that was horrendous. And so it was just kind of me against the world at that point.
Yeah.
And he could see, I think, that I was just doing everything I could to
survive,
make it. And we were presented with an opportunity to do a cabin in Bryan Head. And I was like, well, I need the job. I got to take it, you know. And he was like, I'm in, I'll help you, you know. And he was obviously in high school. So short time frame up there with the snow coming on pretty soon. So we've got to put in a lot of hours in the summer months and just get as far as you can so you can work inside in the winter. And him and I put every nail, every screw, every piece of concrete. We did it all on that cabin, the two of us.
At that point, did you have any other people helping or any other employees? It was at that point, it was literally you taking on jobs. Were you subbing out a lot of the work at that point, or
subbed out everything that, you know, that was beyond the scope of what we would have done back then? You know what I mean? There's a lot of them. Yeah, we couldn't do any electrical, HVAC, or plumbing. That's a different license. Insulation, drywall, doesn't make sense to do those things, you know, with the prices there.
Yeah.
But we did everything else that we could do. Like I said, I was just trying to get back on my feet. Business was super slow. So it was I scaled down from a larger company that I'd started in 2004, and we ran super hard until like 2009. And then it tailed off. I actually had to go get another job for 3-4 years of that.
What do you think, outside of obviously the fact that there was a 2008 crash, like outside of obviously that big event, do you think that there's other things that you could have done that would have prevented you having to tell off and go get a job?
Yeah, so probably like a lot of other business owners, young, not real sharp, just trying to figure it out. I was always very skilled and very good at the work, and was never good at running the business.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in business 21 years now, and I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I think about 99% of business owners listening to this could relate to that. Like, they have a specific skill set, but like, even if you go get a degree and say, oh, I've got a college degree for business,
right?
That's not going to fucking do what it needs to do for you to understand what it really takes to operate a business, you know? So
you don't, and it just takes a lot, you know what I mean? And you got to be able to immerse yourself into a lot of different things.
Yeah.
You got to figure out what works, you know what I mean? Reading books, podcasts. My son introduced me to podcasts. First podcast I ever listened to, RBO. I had to back up and start over and go from the very beginning, because that's just who I am, right? Like, I want to know the whole story. I want to know what's going on. as far as being able to pivot in the business at that time, there was literally like, you had to buy the jobs, you know what I mean? And I had a young family. And so I found a job that paid extremely well, actually in Nevada, but I only worked 14 days a month. So I was 14 days a month there, which allowed me to still run and operate my business for 14 months or 14 days a month at home. Right. So kept my name relevant. I didn't file bankruptcy. I didn't leave anybody high and dry. I took care of everything. And I did a lot of jobs that I wouldn't normally do. You know what I mean? And so,
just saying yes to anything and everything that hits your plate, to keep revenue coming in?
Just to keep revenue in, because as a business, you have to pay for your licensing, your insurance, you know what I mean? So you still have overhead whether you operate or not. I did those things, did whatever it took to get through it. I think he noticed that, could see that, because he was kind of coming in to his own. So he would have been about 15 that summer that we did that cabin. And he was a super sharp kid, very motivated. He was always a very motivated kid. And he excelled at sports and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you gotta go to college, you know what I mean? And because this is painful.
Yeah,
you know,
this isn't the road for you.
I'm at a low point in my life, and I'm like, this is painful.
I don't want to put this on you.
This isn't your burden.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, after doing that cabin, we just shared just some crazy good stuff, you know? I mean, we got to spend a lot of time with each other.
10, 12 hours a day in a cabin.
I mean,
putting nails in stuff, just chatting, you know? You get to know a lot more, I think, about your parent or whoever you're with doing that than anything, you know, where it's just isolation. There's no cell service
at
out
that
there.
point, did you guys, were you guys talking about, hey, this is something that maybe you want to transition to after high school or what?
Yeah, well, at that point, he's pretty much like, I don't want to
do anything else.
I don't want to do anything else. Like, I want to work with you. Like, this is very fulfilling work. He loved the work part of it. He was always a hustler, hard worker. And I'm like, this ain't easy. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to put in the time, but you got to learn it, right? So, like, there's a lot of different businesses where, like, guys will start a business and in 5 years, it's like they're a really successful business. In 5 years, you're scratching the surface of the knowledge that it takes to even get into the construction industry.
Yeah.
So it's a very long-term dedicated thing that it takes to get all of that knowledge, to be able to diagnose things, to be able to do everything right from the ground up. Recognize things that you know are going to be a problem and fix those. So when you get done with a house, you don't have settling issues. You don't have stuff falling apart all the time. You know what I mean? So he realized that he just wanted to work with me. And I says, all right, well, it ain't going to be easy, but I think we can do some great things together, you know? And so I got him through the next 2 years of high school. He graduated. And when he graduated, though, I actually told him, like, he was a perfect kid. And when I say he was a perfect kid, he didn't do everything perfect.
Never seen the things I was doing when I wasn't home. Yeah. I was good.
Yeah, good where you need to be good.
That's right.
He was good
bad where you probably should be good.
I was a teenager, man.
He was good where he needed to be good, but he was rowdy.
Yeah.
I love that. You know what I mean? Figure some things out on your own.
Has a little fire in there.
Like, you know what I mean? Had some drive and made some mistakes and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I've always wanted my kids to make the little mistakes. You know what I mean? Why I can help guide you before you move out on your own and you make that mistake that falls you off the end of the world for 10 years. You know what I mean? So I tried to do that, and it just worked out. So actually, when he graduated, I told him, I said, you got to go get a job for somebody else for 1 year.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want him to just come into, my dad owns the business, and now I'm the guy because my dad owns the business.
Yeah.
Get that entitlement. You got to kind of see what else is out there and what it's like to work.
Yeah, especially have a boss that's not him.
Exactly.
100%.
The discipline. You have to show up. Like, he can be late for dad, like, dude, sorry, dad, I slept in or this or that, and you believe the bullshit, even though it's bullshit. Because it's your kid.
Yeah.
So he had to go get a job for another company for a year.
Yep.
He did that. And then I finally hit a point where I was like, dude, it's getting crazy busy again. And this is like 2017-ish.
Yeah, I graduated 16.
So it was like 2017-ish, and things were just popping off again, and things were going. And I realized that I couldn't make a pivot back then because business was good and you were making money. I mean, I built the new house and I had the new trucks and that kind of stuff where it was like they were still in the business, but I could have done with a lot less. And so second time around, coming back up when he starts getting going with me, I was like, I need investments. I need a way to make money when I sleep. I need a way to make money no matter what happens to this economy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I purchased a duplex in like 2015. We lived in one side, rented the other side out, remodeled it all, fixed it all up real nice. I went from there, then we bought another one, and then I ended up getting engaged to my wife. We moved into her house, and then we just built a house 2 years ago, her and I together. But so it was like I learned that like this could fall apart again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like there's
That's
nothing.
dude. That's a great experience to have because you almost get a second chance at it
Right.
with much better information. In other words, experience
Mhm.
that says like, dude, I don't know what's gonna happen next year or the next. Like when it's good, let's make sure that it's good and let's eat well. But let's also make sure that we're putting some nuts over here on the side.
Absolutely.
So just in case that it's not, that how can we fortify ourselves from a potential situation like a 2008? It's inevitable, right? What goes up will come down. What's down will go up. I mean, you've experienced the up, then the down, and then up again. The real question is did you learn enough from that so that if it does tail down again, that you're fortified, that you have the reserves in the bank and your name is out there and you paid everybody on time. Everybody was taking, like especially in small towns, bro. I mean, your name gets to the point where it's literally everything.
Everything.
Right? Like, oh,
Somebody that could
you
be
got to
trusted.
work with Travis. He's the best, right? And like there's not enough time or money or energy that could ever be invested into making sure that you have a good name, especially when it comes to doing business in a small town.
One of the major things that I did when we came back and started doing really well and things were growing really good, I reflected back to prior years where like you had the one bank account, right? You have a business bank account. All the money goes into that, it goes out of that. We operate off of margins, that kind of stuff. And so it was always just like the money goes into there, the money goes out of there. It's one bank account, right? And then at the end of the month, sometimes or a payroll or some of these other things, you're like, dude, what the hell, man? I got no money. Where did it go?
Yeah.
Why did it go?
Yeah.
And so this time around setting it up, I set up 3 separate bank accounts. So I had the main account that handles all the checks, bills come into that. So all the money comes into one account. Then from there, that money, we get our percentage, which would be our profit and overhead.
Mm-hmm.
That goes into the profit and overhead account. And then when that money comes into there, in our line items for our jobs, we have an insurance line item in there. And then we take a portion of the tax that's in our profit account. We take a portion for tax and we put it into a separate account. So we have an insurance and a tax account now, right? So as we're pulling a job runs you on average about 1% for insurance. That's what it's going to cost to cover that in the insurance policies that we carry and that we have. We carry huge insurance policies just because we would never want to have an issue. We have a $5 million umbrella.
Better to have more than less.
Right. You don't want to find out that you don't have enough.
Because if you cap out the insurance and they come after you personally.
Yeah.
Correct.
So you're better off. Like if you get sued for $2 million, your policy's $1 million. That means they're going to come knock on your door for the other $1 million.
Yeah.
So
we have the standard ones that you're supposed to have. And then on top of that, we have a $5 million umbrella policy, which is not cheap, but I know for 100% fact. And it also has to run off your dollar amount, right? If I have a $3 million policy and that's like each occurrence or whatever, well, right now we have over $10 million in our WIP schedule. I got to be able to cover,
whatever.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't want my clients to ever think that like, hey, this dude might be underinsured or he's doing a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, we pay 70, 80 grand a year for insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a line item. It's 1% of the project. We take that money. We don't spend that money. We don't do anything with that money. And then we transfer that into that tax account and the insurance account. That's where the insurance payments come in. That's where at the end of the year, when we get we do our taxes quarterly to try to stay on top of it. Right. But at the end of the year, the audits are done. If we get audited, the whole 9 yards, if they come back and say anything, then it's not like, shit, I got to drain this account to pay the taxes. No, that money's already sitting.
Bro, how often does that happen?
Right.
People start having good years and they look at the money that they have in their bank account and then they start getting comfortable and complacent until it's tax time. And it's like, oh, you got an $80,000 tax bill. Well, what do you mean? I have $100,000 sitting there. I thought I was good. I was doing good.
Right.
Now I'm back down to almost zero.
Right.
You know, and like people just aren't planning. They're not being strategic. It's the same thing. You know, I came back in to run Easier Accounting, and then within like the first 2 weeks, it's like I get an email. Hey, these are the tax deadline bonuses. Because after every tax deadline, we give out bonuses, right? There's like a March 15th deadline. There's an April 15th deadline. There's a September 15th deadline. There's an October 15th deadline.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, there's 4 fucking deadlines. So now we're giving out bonuses for it. I'm like, I don't want to see over 20,000 just randomly one month come out, and then the next month have it be 30,000 that comes out because it was September 15th and October 15th.
Right.
And then the following month, the margins look even better. And I said, I'm done doing it like that. What we need to do is we need to look annually at what we pay out in terms of bonuses, and then look at the Christmas bonuses that we pay out annually. If it's $100,000, now let's divide it by 12.
Mhm.
I want us to take that much money every single month and just put it aside.
Yep.
I want consistency. The top line or the bottom line shouldn't be waves,
Right.
up
Yeah.
and down, and you know, like depending on the month that it's at and whether we paid bonuses or whatever. And like, how do we create consistency? By forecasting and saying these are our expenses.
Right.
Why don't we just divide it by 12 and make it a monthly overhead and just put that money over here in an account? So when it's time to give out bonuses or whatever the insurance or whatever the fees are,
Right.
why are we getting hit 50 grand one time or 80 grand one time for this ultra tax, the software that you have to use for tax returns? Why are we getting hit with that one time on an annual basis? Why aren't we just putting 6 grand a month off to the side and we never even notice it come out because we're already forecasting, we're already planning for those type of things, right?
Yeah.
So what you said is absolutely spot on, is by having multiple accounts, because you could look at an account that looks great and then 100 grand payroll runs and it's like, oh, I checked it the wrong day. I thought we were good. You know, like if you determine whether you're good or not based upon the money that's in the bank account, I think that you're running a business wrong. There's no strategy to it.
Right.
It's like, oh, only hit the panic button when there's less money in there and then now start operating differently. It's like,
Well,
it
then
doesn't make sense.
It's the difference between knowing which money's yours and which money's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like
Separating it
when you're
out.
billing $1 million a month, you didn't make $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
How much of that is your money?
What's
so that's
true overhead on an annual basis, not just that month.
Yep.
And then
that's the
plan it
separating-
out.
Those accounts being separated to say
Mhm.
money that's ours goes into here. That's the only account that I look at.
Yeah.
Whatever's in that account is not ours, obviously. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I don't care. There's $1 million in there sometimes. That's not my.
It's going to go out eventually.
It's out.
Yeah.
That's
To me, it's
for-
already gone and I don't count it.
Yep, it's gone.
Yeah. It's already taken for.
Once I figured that out, that made life a lot easier. I took it one step further, right? So we started running into vehicle issues, trucks, trailers, equipment, maintenance, these kind of things, right? So Kaidden and I started a leasing company. We buy all of our vehicles, equipment, tools, everything that's in the company is bought in another company.
Mm.
That company then leases it back to our main company,
Mm.
and we have lease agreements drawn up, so it's all legit and legal paper-wise. And so the company makes a lease payment to this company. That lease payment covers way more than what the debt is on the payments of those things in that company.
As it should be if you're really operating it as a business, right?
So that account just builds and builds and builds. And then Kaidden calls me and says, hey, blew up the transmission, towing the Mini X up the mountain. Sweet. Take it over to Smith Diesel. Don't put a new transmission in it.
Yeah.
You're looking at $8-9 grand.
Yeah.
Built transmission that goes back in one of our trucks. Some people that lose their shit sinks the ship, right?
Yeah.
No, we don't have to. We have things that we put in place, safeguards to make sure that the $8, $10, $12,000 transmission, it's cool. When that count hits a certain dollar amount, I don't ever want my guys being in unsafe equipment. We bomb up and down the freeway all the time to jobs. We need to be driving nice vehicles. They need to be kept clean. They need to look presentable. We want to look professional. When that hits a certain dollar amount and our trucks start hitting about 180,000 miles on them, they're diesels. They'll run for 350. We run them to 180, no more than 200, and then
Get rid of them.
we sell that one and we get a new one. So we're keeping everything. Also, that keeps the assets in that business fresh and not clapped out to there's no dollar amount. Keeps the write-offs flowing through the business and that kind of stuff. So I put a lot of things together, and Kaidden's helped me a ton on it, on just trying to, and so as we've done those, we have like 5 different companies now, but I've slowly integrated him into some of those other companies. Tax season's a little.
I was just going to say, I mean, it sounds cool in theory, but it also, the more stuff that you add, these bolt-on businesses or entities and flowing stuff, it's like, okay, now you're paying for 4 or 5 tax returns. Now you're doing bookkeeping on 4 or 5 businesses and payroll or whatever it is on all these different entities. And it starts to become a fucking headache, especially if you want to get a loan.
Yeah.
Loans, it's like, bro, you're better off just fucking paying cash for shit when you get to a certain level if you have a certain amount of entities, because it's like, fuck.
We do a lot.
I would rather just not go through the process of getting a loan, because that's a headache. I don't want to have to give them 2 years tax returns on 5 different businesses, updated P&Ls on 5 different businesses. Hey, what about this one? We need to update it. Well, that was a business venture that we tried that didn't work, so it's not even open anymore. I don't have P&Ls for that one, shit like that, and it's like, fuck, man.
So we do have a holdings company that we simplified it as much as we could. So we do have a holding company that owns several of them. So just the holding company is the one that has the tax return right. It funnels back uphill to that one. So that did simplify it a bit, but you still have to do the accounting practices.
It's more to manage, but it's also a more strategic way to go about it.
Right.
Anytime that you want to make an advancement, there's always going to be an exchange. It's probably going to be harder, right? Like having to manage multiple entities. Yes, it is harder, but it's a better way to run the business. Yeah. Usually the hard thing to do is the right thing to do, which is why most people won't do it, because it's the hard thing, right?
Well, that goes back to not knowing, like, the business side, not really know what I was doing. Yeah. Thankfully I had really good people around me. I had my accountant. He was one of my super good friends. He actually passed away a few years back, but super good friends, super close with him. And one day he walks into my office and he's like, Trav, you need to do something to protect your stuff. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's all, you got like $3.5 million worth of shit. Like if somebody sues you,
it's all up for grabs.
It's all up for grabs. You know what I mean?
You set up another entity and it's loophole. Like, let's create as many hurdles as we can to get to the main thing.
Right.
And so I mean, you're protected.
It just goes back to that thing where it's like, you can never quit learning about business.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I'm like, I don't give a shit if it's a 20-year-old kid, dude. If you figured it out and there's something that I don't know, I want to know it. Yeah. I'll be 47 in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't care.
So you're going to run 47 miles on your 47th birthday, huh? He's been training, so
I'll send you.
He's ready.
I'll send you a picture.
He's been getting the 3 to 5. He's ready to go from 5 to 47.
That can come over a week,
maybe 2 weeks, or 4.7.
Call a doctor. Call a doctor. They'll tell you that you shouldn't do it.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this: what's been, one of the more difficult things to navigate, I guess is maybe the best word, having it. You know how people say don't do business with family. A lot of people say that, right? Because there's chances of something bad happening, and now there's a relationship that could be fractured because of something that happened in business. Like, what would you guys say is the most difficult part about juggling the relationship as father and son versus, hey, we're also trying to do business here? Has there been difficulties navigating that, or you guys have worked around each other for so long that it's just natural, it comes easy? I mean, obviously you have a high level of respect for your dad, watching what he's done, what he's been able to build, what he's gone through, having to rebuild it. And that was even one of my questions that I wrote down, is because I talk to people all the time that are 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years into business, and they're going through like this retraction phase of like having to let a bunch of people go and almost going through an entire rebuild of their business. It's like what got them there is no longer working anymore at that level. Whether it's the players in their organization, whether it's their systems or processes or whatever, they eventually kind of cap out. And then there's this rebirth. It's almost like a kid going through their teenage years where they rebel, and then they fall back in line as they mature and age, and they're like, oh, well, maybe my parents, weren't just weren't just talking shit. Maybe there was something to it, and I shouldn't have done that. I look at business like that. Your business will go through its teenage years and kind of rebel a little bit, and you'll deal with problems and issues. Obviously, it's going to take patience and work and effort and care in order to get over that hump. But I just literally, before you guys even showed up, I was texting back and forth with somebody that's like, dude, feel like I'm in a rebuild phase. Like I'm letting people go. That, I got too big too fast, payroll bloated. I was being overly generous, throwing money around. And now that it's tightened back up, it's really made me look at one who's pulling their weight, what's really needed in the business, things like that, And so you kind of already mentioned that you have gone through a rebuild phase, right? And over that phase, you had to get another job just to survive in order to get to the point to put yourself in a situation where you could even get where you're at today, So
Right. Yes. As far as the work relationship and stuff like that, like I'll let him answer that because he might have some different thoughts. I've always told my kids, because I have multiple kids, and I always told them I'm running a business, not a daycare.
Yeah.
So if you show up with intent every day, we're going to be just fine. And so this young man's always showed up with intent.
Yeah.
And so we have never really had the knockdown, drag-outs.
No, I mean, you hear stories, but
Yeah.
I've never, people ask that all the time, especially building a house for somebody or something. We're dealing with people for a year.
Yeah.
And so, I've got it asked a ton to me. And, when I reflect on it, I not only am good at like the business and personal separation. A lot of the subcontractors we work with are people that I knew when I was a kid too, because I grew up around them with my dad being in the industry and going on job sites and sweeping up trash or whatever, shooting nail guns into the plywood, whatever I was doing, I was there. They were there, they know me, I know them.
Yeah.
But, I think that the big things for me is like, he's never questioned me on like, when I had something to say or if there was something that needed to be done. And I think like, hey, what if we took this approach? Like, even if it wasn't something he would have thought of, it was like, there's trust, there's backing. Like, like if it fails, I have confidence in you. I don't care. We'll reboot. We'll figure it out again. So like to that level. And then just being a great teacher. Like the patience that he's given me, like in our industry, is like you don't get patience. The old guy on the job site with all the knowledge is also the grumpy guy. He doesn't have time for your shit.
Yeah, nobody does it as well as he does it.
Hell no. Yeah. Hey, give me that level, bro. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah. That's what you hear, And I can't tell you how many things I fucked up going through the learning process where if I had that old grumpy guy, they would just be like, yeah, dude, get out of here, kid. But he would laugh it off and be like, yeah, you just cost us some fucking money, but come here, let me show you what to do. And having that dynamic gave me the appreciation for him, because I'm like, damn, I know that most people anyways, not even just my father, but just most people in general, aren't going to take the time to show you these things to help you constructively learn. So I got a lot of that. I got it young, I was interested young. So those things kind of followed up. And then there was some points where, in like the last 5 years where I started surpassing him in some knowledge. And I'm like, okay, this is different, because I've always looked up to him so much. But now that I've got things to say and input, he's like, what do we do? And I'm like, you're the boss. And he's like, not here, So I'm like, okay, I appreciate that,
The technology and the stuff that's coming up, you know what I mean? Like GBT. Yeah, I don't know how to use none of that shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I know what I do with the computer, and it's not all that stuff.
It's frustrating to watch him.
The softwares and the stuff that we use and that we run there, like, I lean on him a ton now. You know what I mean? And so as far as being partners or anything like that, I don't know that I'll ever, like...
We never even had that conversation.
Yeah, but...
I've never ever once been like, hey, when is my buy-in? That was never my goal. I don't think that was ever his goal either. It was kind of like, my goal is to eventually just one day be like, hey, I'm going to retire you. The name on the door can stay the same. If we do the buy-in then or buyout completely then, like that's how it happens. Like I want to prove my worth to the point where I'm like, yeah, you can get the mailbox money. Like you gave me this knowledge and assets. Here's your return on the back end. Like this is the trade-off, like.
Well, so if we value the company, right? Like I had a guy reach out about an acquisition, not too long ago, you know, and I was like, yeah, I'm not even entertain that. And so then I listened to this acquisition podcast that I found about acquisitions. That like, yes, like 30% of the value of the company, right? So you take the WIP schedule and you take the assets and all the things and stuff like that. And I told Kaidden and JD, my project manager, my estimator, I'm like, hey, you guys want to buy me out? It's like 3.8 million. I just
Walk away.
I'll get out your hair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll take $3.8 million and go do something else. Yeah. And the more you think about it, you know, like he's helped build this thing for sure. But for me, like instead of him having to try to figure out $3.8 million with just starting a young family and that kind of stuff, like we'll stay here. He gets a percentage of the business paid to him anyways. He does just fine.
Yeah.
So
You're not worried about his finances.
No.
You know what they look like.
yeah, he's in great shape.
Yeah.
But my thing is like, if I retire, what the hell am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm super young, 47. I'll be 47 in a couple weeks, but like, yeah, it's what am I going to do? You know what I mean? And so I want to help, continue to help him. I want to help my other, couple of my other boys, you know, have talked about doing some things. I'd love to be able to help them in whatever they're doing. I'm sure at some point I'm going to have to build all the rest of my kids a house at some point, you know what I mean? And help them out. So I'll be around, but then there'll be a time where kind of like the roles reverse, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he can
Yeah, what's-
spearhead the
what's-
company, he can take over the company. I will help him as he's needed. And I just want my cut every month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just need my
Yeah.
piece
it's
for the month.
cheaper than a bank loan if I do it that way.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
I
you
mean,
know, the
usually, though,
interest-
the owner financing type things. You
Yeah.
pay me my whatever, 20 grand a month for
Yeah.
what, 20 years or
Yeah.
10 years or whatever it'll.
Yeah.
We'll work something out like that. And I just told him, like, you know what I mean? I know what my retirement wants to look, what I want my retirement to look like. I'm about halfway there, you know? And so when I get closer to the other side of it, he'll probably be at a point where it's like, okay, cool, I need to do this now. And I'll be like, cool, this is what I need every month. And I'll still show up and I'll still help you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be able to scale way back and spend time with my grandkids.
Yeah, your phone will ring a little less.
Yeah, you know, I want the time with my grandkids and to be able to do the things and stuff like that. My kids never really had grandparents on either side, and so like I'm super excited to be a grandparent, and I just want to be the best grandparent there is.
Just keep popping out more kids, bro. You force them into retirement.
Yeah.
You know,
Sit
that's your succession plan.
Yeah.
If he wants to be, you know, just have 10 kids, hurry real quick.
Well,
And
I
then he's
told-
got 10 grandbabies to.
Well, my wife retires in 4 years from the state, and
Yeah, so
she's like,
she's-
we're traveling, and I'm like, whoa. We got to afford all the travel and all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you might need to get another job, sweetheart, for a minute.
I don't think that you've ran your retirement plan for me yet. Like, what about me over here? I get what you're ready to do in 4 years, but like, what?
I hooked her up with an Airbnb though. She's killing it. She's doing good. I'm like, cool. If I can just get her like 4 or 5 more of them,
Busy,
and she can just do
the
'cause
bookings and
she's killing it.
yeah.
And I'm like, if I can just get like 4 or 5 more of those for her, that'll keep her plenty busy. And then it'll
Keep her distracted
keep her distracted and
long enough to where maybe you can delay the travel.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so
I'm not afraid to travel. It's just, you know, I know what I want my retirement to look like, and I'm kind of an expensive guy. I like to hunt and fish, and that's spendy and
expensive hobbies.
expensive hobbies, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah. No, that is cool. It's cool to see the humility in terms of like, hey, bro, I'm good with what I like. The fact is, let's just be real here. You know, you're just in good hands.
Yeah.
You know that somebody is there that wants the best for you, that's looking out for you, and it's like
100%.
it makes it much better when you're in a situation doing business with people that both people have high integrity, high character. They want to see the other person win. Usually what ends up happening is somebody becomes a little too greedy and they're just thinking about themselves and they want to win more.
Right.
And then it's like, well, how do I win more? Well, if they get less, then I get more. And then there's this friction that starts happening, right? So
Right.
to be able to see, you know, two people come together, like he's not entitled, right? Like he's a hardworking.
He's never
That's what I'm saying. It's like that's when you start running into problems is with entitlement. Like I should own this company. I should have this. I should, you know. It's like, why don't you count the blessings that you currently have, the money that you're
100%.
currently making, and just know that it can only go up and only expand and only become,
Yeah.
greater and greater in terms of opportunities.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it was like kind of cool, like about 5-6 years ago, I kind of drug him into the realm of like self-development and like, hey, like when's the last time you read a book, or like when's the last time you challenge yourself, and like,
what's a book?
I was like,
I mean, like
plans. What do you got?
Yeah.
like, like I look at it as like, however big I make this whole deal with him
Yeah.
is what I have in return to help give back to him, but also provide for myself. So I'm like, why can't we do it together? And then the flip side is going to reward you until you want it to stop.
What got you on a self-improvement journey? I mean, because that seems unique for somebody that's young. I mean, obviously he was motivated at a young age, being out there working 10, 12-hour days. It's still in high school.
Yeah.
So the motivation was there, but usually people don't find self-improvement till they go through life and life beats the living shit out of them.
Yeah.
And they're just like, fuck, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
And then you start opening it, but like, it's almost like life hadn't really beaten the shit out of you fully yet.
No.
And in order for you to actually take improving self seriously. So I'm just like, that's a weird situation. It's not normal.
Like the work ethic was there. And I was like, hey, like I understand work. I know work. That's something that I've got
Why was the
pinned.
work ethic there?
I think he just put it, I don't know, like it was just a
We
thing.
talked about this prior to
know?
even coming into the podcast.
It was just
A proximity of an
yeah,
example.
Yeah, like
And then it rubbed off. And it's not going to rub off on everybody. It won't, but
yeah. Well, there was just, and I think it was my, interest in the field too, along with that, like seeing what Dad's doing. Like, we had job sites. We lived in this place called Ashdown Forest and Cedar. And like, it's this, he's building houses all over around there, like in proximity of me and my pedal bike, like he's leaving at work before the sun comes up. And he's like, in the summer, I'm like, he's like, yeah, dude, come find me over here. I'll be down over here by this house. Come find me at 8, 9 o'clock whenever you wake up. I would hop on my pedal bike, run down, like he's got his crew guys there. They're framing, lining stuff out, concrete, whatever. And I would just show up and like, he's like, yeah, dude, like I'll give you $5 today if you sweep up the job site or whatever, and I'm just like, dude, this environment's badass, like for sure,
I can make money doing this?
Yeah, and I don't know what it was. It was just like, I don't have anything else going on to where that was interesting, and so that developed young, but then I hit like the roadblock of like, hey, I've always felt this way, but like, what else is there? Because you can work hard. I know everybody can work hard, but how are some people doing it and like really excelling? Yeah, what are they doing different? Because I'm like, I feel like I could work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week and still not catch up to these people, So I'm reading books and I'm like, at first I was like, oh, there's got to be shortcuts, I mean, these books have shortcuts in them and that's why, and then I'm like, I read them and I'm like, fuck, this is just more work. Like this is like thinking work though. It's brain work. It's different. It's not physical.
It is different.
It's harder in my opinion, like the physical stuff, like you can pick up on that and learn it, but like to be constantly putting yourself in a position to learn and read and grasp information and then try to figure that out on your own, like a science experiment, like that's hard, because there's nobody to go to. Like if I'm messing something up, framing a house, I can pull the guy aside who's done it for 20 years and say,
what am I doing?
Hey, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Oh, do X, Y, and Z. And you're, there's an instruction manual there. When somebody's like, hey, how do I have a successful business? Okay, well, what department are you talking about? Like, what's the issue or how, and there's a million answers to every question.
Yeah.
Like the labor's pretty straightforward with answers. That side's not. So that's when I kind of started, talking to him about it because I think that's the mindset I grew up and got out of him was like, work hard and you'll earn, and that's how it works. And then I kind of was thinking, well, there's got to be another way to do this. Like, how about you learn with me and then you teach me because I don't know how to teach you. I've never taught you before.
I think he said there's another way to do this because you have employees, right? And we've ran at a little higher standard than most. And so when those guys don't show up or you got that, 100-yard concrete pour at 4 a.m, you're starting and there's freaking half the crew there because the rest of them don't wake up or they're sick or they got drunk the night before. and him and I are out there busting our ass. You know what I mean? I think that's what made him think.
Yeah, I'm like, this is hard.
There's a different way, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's when it really registered, because he kind of came to me. He's like, dude, what are we doing? Like, there's an easier way than this.
I thought it was easier. It's just as much work.
It's just as much work.
Well, if anything, it's actually harder. And the reason why it's harder because it goes against your natural tendencies of being just the doer.
Yeah.
Just the builder.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like now I have to try to reprogram my mind. Doing the work is the easy thing because that's what you know. Mm-hmm. So it's easier just to continue to do what you know and not make change. Change is the hardest thing in the entire world to do. So what you're doing is saying there's got to be a better way. In other words, we got to change something. Yeah. Which is, I mean, that's an uphill battle just by itself. I mean, if you're getting out to exercise, that's fucking tough. If you're reading, that's fucking tough. Like instead of jamming into music, listening to a pod, like you're reframing the habits and the actions that you take on a day-to-day basis to try to supplement your life and make a better one. Right. And so it is a better way, but it is a harder way. Hence, most people don't jump into self-improvement. They don't really try to increase their skills on the business side. Dude, I mean, you've been on the calls in the group and stuff, and I'm like, sometimes I get asked questions. I'm like, bro, we fucking went over this shit like 6 months ago. Like, I don't want to see fucking people be in here just to be in here for fun, just to kind of like play around in this self-development. Like, it's self-development. Yes, we come together as a group to have some accountability, some good change of perspective by listening to other people, but it's like, really, what the fuck are you doing with the information?
Right.
You know, like that's really what matters. That's really where you're actually going to start seeing progress. And most people, you know, they'll play around in self-improvement or until it gets difficult. And
that call a couple of weeks ago, like I said, man, that shit just, I don't know. I've been in a lot of the calls and that one just hit me. And I was like, I can do like.
We'll call that one the wake-up call then.
Yeah, bro. So I'll cut in there. Now, I don't know. And like I said, I've been in a lot of them and I don't know why that one hit me different. You know what I mean? I don't know what I was feeling or how I was feeling. I just was like, there's so much more.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, it's just one of those things. And I just was like, I got to make some changes. Got to do some things, you know what I mean? And so I didn't put it out there for the whole universe or whatever. I just decided like
it's time to move.
It's time to move. I got to do something different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's the biggest change that you think that you've seen since Kaidden's came on, you know, to help out and do some of the maybe more technical stuff or software stuff or whatever, like the way that you were doing it before versus maybe the way that you guys are doing it now and some of the changes that have been implemented? Or
yeah, so once we kind of took off with, you know, with the self-improvement and that kind of stuff, and then from there
this
it was
was
like
what, 2020, 2019?
I would say probably around 19.
Yeah.
19. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
During like the COVID days when you had a lot on your mind.
Just had a lot of time.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I'm like, well, what do I do now? You know, I mean, like we're still working. Like, this place didn't shut down. We live in Central Utah. It was Western.
Yeah, we were still walking into Walmart with no face masks. Fuck these people.
Yeah.
But like by then we had made like some transitions because at first like we didn't start like general contracting off the bat. You know, like he used to do. You know, back when 09 happened, it was like, we're doing the framing, we're doing the concrete. Like he told me like, you know, you're going to run crews, you're going to run guys, you're going to know the work inside out before you're going to tell somebody else how to do their job, you know, rightfully. So like nobody wants to listen to, you know, a 20-year-old who doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
So that was already a hard battle for me anyways, because like I'm talking to guys that are my dad's age, like, hey, you're fucking this up over here. Well, if I can't back that up, then they're gonna be like, scram, dude, like get the fuck out of here. But like
the site, pal.
but when I could be like, nah, dude, like you need to put this together this way, and they're like, oh shit, like how do you know that? I'm like, well, because I've been around the block a little bit. Like I'll never say I've done it as long as you, but like I've been around the block a little bit, you know, like I had that instilled in me to do those things. So we switched over, I'd say probably like 2018, 2019 right there is when we did that first parade house.
Yeah, Kathy's in New Harmony.
Yeah. So then we got into like okay, we're going to GC, we're going to run guys, because crew guys were just too hard, like the independability, the
turnover.
yeah, you just,
Well, we're
it's
just like a
hard.
lot of those guys can handle that stuff. You know what I mean? Where like we had a higher standard of like, no, you show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You show up with a clear head and ready to work.
Yeah.
Like,
having high standards is hard. Oh dear, it actually makes your life harder before it makes it easier.
Absolutely.
Right? Like eventually, you'll probably cycle more people to honor the standard that you have.
Yeah.
But when you cycle through enough people and find the right ones that are operating at that standard, then it's like, okay, now my life is easier because I went through the difficulty of holding the line in regards to the standard that we have in the organization.
absolutely. Like today, real world today, right now, there's 3 general contractors in my office. And that's because of the standard that we've built and what we provide and the quality that we want to do. And we take damn good care of our people.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so now my clients come in and they're like, wait, there's 3 of you guys? And it's like, yeah, there's going to be somebody that's very qualified on your job every day.
Yeah.
No matter what. And so it becomes this thing where that standard has to be higher. You know what I mean? We want to do the absolute best. It takes longer to do a shitty job than to just do the right job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Slow down and do it right the first time rather than having a redo.
Yeah.
Go back and more time, more money, rip things apart, redo things.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we're locked in. We've got a really good sub base, which is a testament to not filing bankruptcy on people when the crash happened and all that stuff.
Sure, there's probably some thoughts that, hey, maybe I should. And you're like, nah, dude, let's just fucking face it head on.
And so our sub base is amazing. But I mean, there's a lot of people that want to work with us, you know what I mean? And so that's a really cool feeling because it's like we get the good stuff.
Yeah. But like even then, like, so from 2019 starting that journey to like current, in the last couple of years, like now we're, once Trav joined like the RBO live and all that stuff, like he was getting deeper into it. I'm getting deeper into it. We're kind of, now we have some information to play with, it's like, hey, I'm bouncing this off of him. He's bouncing it off of me of like, hey, what do you think about this? I've seen this way to structure something, or like this way to, check this out. This is how this guy's doing it in his contracting business. And, we're paying for a service right now that's a contractor service and different things. But like in the last year and a half, it's been like he's at the point in business where he hasn't been this far. And I'm wet behind the ears. I've never been as far as we've been the entire time we've been doing this.
Yeah.
So he's looking back at me like, hey, where do we go? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know the roadmap. I don't know how this works, you know? And the opportunities are infinite. It's just like, which way do you want to take it? And then how do we structure, like, do we go this big? Do we go this big? Or like, how big is too big for what we want to represent as far as quality or those kind of things? And so that's where we're at now, is like, we're doing good, things are good, but what's the next move? And I think that's where most businesses always are, right? Like, you can't just ever get complacent and be like, oh, we're good here and we're going to.
And that's what most businesses do, bro.
Yeah.
That's what most businesses do.
Yeah.
They get a point where they make $100,000 or 150 or 200, and then it's like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, why would I risk what I'm bringing in now and pay myself less to try to create an opportunity for more? Right. They've been bought at a certain number in terms of like wanting growth because they don't want to risk what they currently have for the sake of growth anymore. They just they're lukewarm, right? And they know that they can get by, and then they stop. You said, well, everybody should be looking at like, well, what's next? Most businesses don't do that, bro.
Yeah,
and
they don't.
And the way that we got our people to buy into that too is by performance-based pay.
Yeah,
right. So all of our people, that's performance-based pay.
I'm
do the job and you get paid.
I'm a big believer in that, bro.
Yeah.
So
even the changes that I've made around here, I'm like, dude, if somebody owes, $30,000 or more in tax, you need to go through this type of a checklist to see if they would be a good candidate for a tax plan. Yeah. If we can see an opportunity to add value and make money in the process of doing it, I want everybody's eyes on everybody they communicate with to have eyes of opportunity, not necessarily for the purpose of just getting more rich, but there has to be an equal exchange of value. Can we add value to their life if we add this service? And so just creating those eyes for opportunity, saying, hey, anybody that you bring to us that meets these requirements, that ends up moving forward, you're going to get X because of that. When the company's winning, you guys should all be winning too. When you're helping the company get to the, dude.
You just said it like on one of your podcasts just the other day where you're like 80% of business owners make less than 80 grand a year or something like that?
80% make 80 or under.
Okay, so three people in my organization make well over 100 grand a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just a testament to if they're doing that well, how well, like if that's going that well, then how well can you be doing, you know, by the way you're treating the people in your.
Oh, I'm a big believer in creating opportunities that look very similar to business ownership.
Yeah.
But creating the opportunity to make business ownership type money without having to be a business owner.
Yeah.
Right? Like how can you create opportunities for people that where they can make 120 grand a year in your organization, but they don't have to make the same exchange or go through fucking hell of 2008, figuring things out, going back to, you know, in order to be able to even create that opportunity for yourself. Like once you do that and you could figure out how to create opportunities that's why I bring up that point, because I'm like 80% make under 80. It's not everything that you think it is.
Yeah,
if 80% of business owners are out there making 80 grand a year or under, and you're sitting there wondering like if the grass is greener, like I'm not here to discourage anybody from starting a business. It's just, thank God they don't know what the fuck they're getting into prior to getting into it, because if you knew what you were getting into, you probably wouldn't climb that mountain.
Yeah.
It's like good to actually deal with the problems as you're dealing with them, because if you knew about them all prior, you'd be like, bro, that's a Mount Everest times 10. I don't want to walk that walk or take that journey. But if you can create opportunities for other people where they can provide for their family and live a good, like I don't want anybody on my payroll that is actually struggling financially to the point to where the fact that they make a certain amount of money is creating a level of stress that forces them to not be able to operate in a manner in which they should when they're in the business. They should be coming here with gratitude, appreciation, a solid paycheck. Again, it's an exchange of value. If I can't do what I'm doing here without you, how can I make sure that there's opportunities there for you in order for you to advance your life? Because you're helping do, it should be a two-way street. Right?
Oh, absolutely. Like everybody, I don't know one person in my organization that wouldn't freaking take a bullet for me.
But
that's how it should be.
You know what I mean?
You're creating a higher standard
because
too.
of how you showed up, though.
Like you can hold that standard when you're telling somebody like, hey, like I'm paying you premium rate and I'm taking care of you. You've also got to hold the same standard that applies to those things. And honestly, like there's not a single person that works for us that has any objection to that. They're like, nah, dude, I'm here every day to do my best job.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be here tomorrow to do even better. Like
when you pay a premium, you can expect a premium and have the expectation. The problem is most people, you know, pay $15 an hour, $20 an hour and expect exceptional.
Yeah.
When most people just act their wage.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can't expect somebody that's getting paid $15 an hour to act like they're getting paid $50 an hour. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. The problem with $15 an hour type mindset is they want to get paid more before they do more.
Yeah.
And that's why they're at $15 an hour. That's why they are where they are, is because of that exact mindset. They're not willing to go above and beyond and do more in which is outlined in their job description, because they only get paid to do that.
Right.
But they're shortchanging their future because they're not going above and beyond. Like there's only like even you know this, for as many years you've been in business, like the people that you fear losing, you make sure that they're very well taken care of, because you don't want to go through the pain of losing that individual. Well, how do you get to the point of being somebody inside of an organization that would create a pain point if you left? The only way to do that is by always over-delivering on the value exchange in terms of what you get paid versus the effort that you put in as an investment to your future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I want my future to be brighter, so I'm going to continue to outwork my check so that my check only has one way to go, and that's up.
And that's where that
and I
performance.
continue to add value to where it's like, dude, now the business would actually fill it if I left.
Yeah.
Now you're really in a position of, I don't want to say power, but at the same time, you kind of are.
Yeah.
You know, you could turn the tables
Yeah.
by being such a valuable piece to an organization where they're like, dude, we got to do whatever to make sure this person stays here.
And that's where like the entrepreneur comes along, right?
That's exactly it.
Like
right there.
somebody wants to step in and says, I don't want any of the bullshit of owning the business, running the business, doing anything with that part of it, because I just don't want the headaches. But I'm going to be here for this much time regardless.
Pay me well for this skill that I'll show up with at an extremely high level every single day. And I'm okay making the exchange and picking up a check, because the exchange of owning a business, some of them have probably experienced and said, dude, I don't fucking even want to touch that anymore.
Yeah.
I just want to be the person out on the job.
Right.
Yeah.
You can deal with the fucking 5 tax returns and the bookkeeping and the calls and the people saying that they can't show up on the job site this day or that day, or upset client or whatever, right? Like all the bullshit that comes with it. Like, bro, you're doing the exact same thing in which I just barely preached. Business owners legitimately do more than what they get paid for. Because when you're starting a business, you're not really getting paid shit. You know, so that means by default, you're actually exerting a high amount of effort with little to no reward for an extended period of time until the rewards come. It's the same thing with an employee. Show up. Yes, you'll get your paycheck, but show up and deliver more, so that over the course of time, the results will show up and you end up with more over 10 years, 15 years or whatever. And it's just like a concept that's just lost on people. Always outwork what you're getting paid as an investment into your future, because eventually you'll get paid more. That's what business owners do. That's literally what it is.
Right.
Like, dude, I want to advance. Advancing looks like taking a step backwards.
Yeah.
I got to cut the fucking check. I got to hire a new fucking GM or a new fucking project manager or a new general or whatever, right? And it's always cutting the check, taking a step back so that you can end up out here, you know? And that's advancement looks like taking a step backwards. That's why a lot of people don't advance, right? You know, I mean, that's really what you still never answered one of the biggest changes that has occurred in the business since Kaidden has got brought on. Is it the self-development? Is it the self-improvement? Is it the standards? Is it just the software? Is it what is it?
So a combination, right? Like I said, I've never been a computer guy. He comes in and then he finds these systems, right? There's this program,
A software.
There's something that he, implements, and he's tried a couple of them, and he has the patience to sit in front of a computer and do that.
And tinker with fucking shit.
I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It took me years to figure. I can't remember the guy's name. That was having a hard time getting out of the tool bags. You know what I mean? Just barely talked about him.
Eric,
I think so. Yeah.
the electrician.
Yep. So for a while, man, I would sit at the computer and go, I don't feel like I'm getting anything done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing emails. I'm doing the thing. I'm reviewing plans. I'm estimating. I'm bidding. I was so geared towards, I got to be sweating. I got to be pounding nails. I got to be cutting something. I got to be finishing concrete. That's work.
Yeah.
I had to be working.
At least at the end of the day, you get to step back and be like, man, there was no walls.
Mm-hmm.
Now the walls are up.
Yeah.
So it's like the instant gratification of like, dude, the exchange that I made is I showed up to work today, and now look what I get to see the progress.
Right.
When you're sitting behind the desk doing, it's like you don't get to see the progress.
No, you know what I mean? And I love to create and I love to build. And so, I mean, that's what got me into this. And I was like, there was none of that anymore. And so then I had this freaking hard time with that. And then he steps in and then he finds these programs and then he gets this software. And so we're running this software now and it's freaking awesome.
Mm.
And I'm like, dude, if I would have just had enough patience to sit down long enough to figure that out and find that software, it would have made my life a million times easier 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so that's been huge, right? The bringing the tech into the business has been just immense. It's been huge. The other part has been the fact that, like, after a while of that, I just started going through the motions. You know, I mean, I got complacent. I'm like, shit, dude, money's rolling. I got an office administrator. She's freaking savage. She's awesome as hell. I mean, she's on people all the time about paying. She gets the bills out. Books are cleaned up. for for ARCAD to come in and review our books. They review them every month just to make sure that we're doing what we should be doing. Anyways, I just got it. I kind of got the pieces starting to fall into place. You know what I mean? So it's like, shit, man, I'm gonna go fishing for 8 days over here. Then I'm gonna go hunting over here. And then my wife's like, bro, you worked like 10 days in the last 2 months. And it's like, well, yeah, I got this machine that I built, and then I was like, wait, it could be way better.
Yeah.
Way better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what am I doing? And that's where kind of like the self-development, where I could see him leveling up, and he's getting ready to be a new father, and he's just pushing, and he wants to create and do these things for his family, and keep his wife at home with his kids and that kind of stuff. And so he's really stepping up and leveling up. And I'm like, well, I can either build with him or I can be the boat anchor.
Yeah.
And I sure as hell don't want to be the boat anchor.
That's what I was going to say. I think the change that I gave him was time. Because when you're the business owner, you know how it is. Like, if you don't have that assembly line of people that are taking care of things that you don't have to worry about, you're constantly worried about everything.
Yeah.
So like when you're able to drop a piece for a minute and say, okay, I just got to check in with this guy, and now I can focus on the business from this view instead of like right in the middle of the trenches.
Yeah.
Like that's where things change, and that's kind of where I kind of, in my mind, I'm like, I'll do the projects, I'll do the work, I'll make sure everything's good. Go find us the projects we want to do. Because like when you're going through the motions, you're taking the projects you have to take.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to do these, like find these or go network with these people. Like at first it used to bother me, I'm like, where the fuck is my dad golfing today? It's fucking Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like, you asshole, I'm out here in tool bags sweating. Like, Dick's going to come check on me at 2:00 and be like, hey, yeah, golf was good, And like, now I encourage it because, the people he's golfing with or the relation. Yeah, I'm like, dude, yeah, you need to go. You need to go back there. Yeah, hey, here's some lessons.
Work on your slice.
Yeah. Yeah. Aim a little to the left, a little further. No, but I mean, like, like a lot of the relationships and stuff that he's built on the golf course, which I think is a weird place to do it, but it works. It actually paid off. Like the people that he's networking with there, and then like him doing the networking and starting that process, and like, oh, like, you put yourself in front of people and you have conversations and ideas come into fruition of like, hey, let's do something together, and then it starts down a road to where it's like, now we're out of what's our next job? How do we sell a job to somebody, worrying about what our future looks like, when we can put ourselves out like, hey, let's get our books a month or a year and a half out. 2 years, I don't know, like let's load them up, but let's load them up with things we want to do, that we want to perform at, that everybody's excited at, things that are jobs that are going to profit us good, or things that are.
So he's been able to go more so on the business development side, relationship
Yeah, like, hey,
side,
you work on the
stuff like
mechanics
that.
and fundamentals of what we're doing.
Bringing business in rather than being the one doing the business. And isn't it funny? You guys said, hey, we're further along than we've ever been before. So it's like, okay, now what do we do from here?
Yeah.
And look at the way that it's structured.
Right.
That you have somebody that's actually, from the outside, obviously at one point it's like, what the fuck's he on a golf course for?
Yeah.
As like other employees, like, man, he's so lucky. I want to just be on a golf course. Yeah, it's all cool and dandy, but like, there's still shit that's getting done in an unconventional way.
Yeah.
But is the end result still the end result? In other words, is the business growing? Is the business expanding?
Yep.
So if anything, being on the golf course sounds like a revenue generating activity outside of minusing the golf balls that he loses and the beers and
whatever that turns into be.
But it seems to, equate to obviously growth. And I think that's the biggest issue that most businesses face is they just get to a point where they can take their business to a certain level. Yeah. Now they don't have any time but just to maintain and do whatever the fulfillment is, whether it's building or whatever industry that you're in. You get to a point where now you're just stuck doing rather than building or growing or developing relationships.
Got your head down in the business. You can't.
Bro, I love business partnerships. I absolutely love them because it works. It's exactly what you guys are talking about right now, where you've got two heads with the same goal of like, let's build a badass business that, kicks off a bunch of money. Let's create opportunities for people and let's hold a high standard. But then you're not both focused on the exact same things.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why it works, right? It's like a yin and a yang. It's like, dude, no, you focus on the doing and making sure that everything's staying. The task at hand is the task at hand, and everybody's focused. Everybody's moving in the right direction. While he's out there shaking hands, kissing babies, doing pageant waves, doing the PR.
Yeah.
The public relations for the company really, solidifying.
Well, you don't realize how important it is until it works, and then it's like, holy shit, dude, like we just 10x'd. How did that happen?
Bro, it's the same thing when I joined Masterminds in 2019. It was like, dude, I was like, I didn't really even know what I was getting into. I just know that we wanted a better result. I didn't know that the better result is, me focusing on self-improvement so much so that, other people got curious about, dude, who are you? What are you up to? What are you doing? And then these other relationships started happening, and, businesses started, our businesses skyrocketed from 2019 to 2021. There's that lag period where you're doing the stuff, but there's really not a ton to show for it. Like, you're not going to go out on a golf course the first time. Next thing you know, your books are jam-packed for 2 fucking years straight, but you do that enough over the course of years, eventually by default, that's just what's going to happen. But you keep showing up in that same manner without the results in order to get them,
Well, and so like what the golf creates is like, we're trying to generate and create relationships that are going to be consistent money and consistent jobs. And what I say by that is like development, right? Like,
that's their business, is to develop.
Right. And so you get locked in with one of those guys. Now that's just, you don't got to go find that work. You don't got to go hunt that work. You just got to take care of that guy. Right.
Yeah.
So full disclosure, I'm playing at Sun River at 7 a.m. tomorrow with that guy.
Yeah. He's PR tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, well, you get what I'm saying, right? Like, like you always, the most important thing in business is the relationships. Develop the relationships with any and everybody, and where you can, focus on the important relationships, realize what relationships you have to dump. Like, that shit's cancer to me. I got to get rid of that relationship because they're just things that aren't going to serve you that way, and really foster and nourish the relationships that are going to get you somewhere.
Well, you talked about, hey, I don't want to be an anchor.
Yeah.
What relationships do you have right now that are an anchor? Everybody has those relationships,
right?
Whether it is people that are in their family, whether it's employees, it doesn't matter. Everybody has an anchor in their life. It could be a habit. It could be a bad routine that something. There's something that's an anchor. And the fact that you guys have been able to do what you've done is incredible. But I don't know if it really would have been possible without, one, self-improvement, two, without having a second set of eyes in the business that cares about the business as much as you do.
Absolutely.
That has the ability to take it from where you were at. There's a reason why there's the relay. They pass the baton and somebody else moves it forward, and maybe faster, better, more efficient, whatever it is. But I think it's incredibly awesome the way that you guys have it structured. And if people realized the importance of building relationships and they really, really focused on that, their business would look completely different within 3 to 5 years. Any issue that you have, whether you're talking about software or a better system, a better process, the next deal that you're going to close, whatever you're currently struggling with, you're one relationship away from no longer having that struggle.
Right.
The problem is if you're busy doing, how can you build relationships?
Brent Knott, right? Relationship came out of nowhere, from the group.
And now you have a bottle of nice alcohol, liquor in my office because he gifted it to you.
Brent, I appreciate that, man. That's awesome. That's my thing.
He's on his health kick right now, bro. He's focused.
I'm off that right now, so maybe you bring the missus up and stay at the Airbnb, and we'll share one together, wherever you can do that. But so that relationship just kind of reached out, you know what I mean? We touched on a few things, and it's like, hey, this is what he does, and this is what I need help with, and so we just kind of fostered that relationship along. It's still very early on. We're still working our way through that, but it's going to be a fantastic relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if you don't try, but he has some information that I want.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's going to be a value and exchange there that's going to take place.
Exactly.
And I'm going to be immensely better off for it, and he's happy to help me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's how business should be. It
Relationship.
should be win-win.
Yeah.
His skill set provides value to your business, and he charges X amount for that skill set, and that skill set serves you in your business with where you're at to help you make an advancement, whether it's creating a system and process that streamlines things a little bit better, communicating a little bit better with people, whatever it is that you're trying to do with this software. But I mean, that's been available to you for what, a year or two now? You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But I'm not slighting you for that, like saying, dude, you should have done that a year or two ago.
But I should have.
But at the end of the day, that relationship was in your proximity now for a year or two.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when you really start, again, that surface level commitment, that people have, it's surface level. Like they want to be in the environment, but they're not really immersing themselves in the environment to be able to extract all the value.
Get involved.
Right? Get involved. Connect with people. Find out what everybody has a unique skill set. Everybody has a unique skill set that can add value. The question is can I get in their proximity, talk to them for a long enough period of time, have them understand what my needs are, and then share their perspective that's different from mine so that I can, challenge the perspective that's obviously keeping me exactly where I'm at with the same problem, same revenue, whatever, right?
Yeah. We spend a lot of money. I mean, I've spent a lot of money in the last couple of years consulting.
It's a fucking game changer.
Like that.
Is that not a game changer though, bro?
You can't spend enough money and you can't spend it soon enough.
Dude, it's a fucking... I used to think all this success space was scam shit. Oh, they just want my money, buy my equipment. There is some of that out there, right? I mean, there's good cops, bad cops, good teachers, bad teachers, good business owners, bad business owners. There's good information, there's bad information. There's good people, bad people, So in anywhere there's good, there's also going to be bad, right? Like you there's light, there's dark, right? That's just kind of the way that it works. And so... But I chalked it all up as just like a bunch of bogus shit where people were spewing hot air and self-improvement, development. Yeah, sure. I'm a young kid and I make $120,000 a year. Nobody can tell me what to do. I'm already making way more money than most people that I know.
Right.
So it's like you think that you have it all figured out, and then you just built a ceiling by thinking that way rather than, leveraging other people's skills or knowledge or information or investing into self-improvement. And it's like, there's not one person that I've ever met that said, oh, I invested into consulting or joining a group or having an advisor, and it was a terrible decision.
Yeah.
I don't hear that. Right. And it's like, it's really not that difficult. Where you have a gap, that's somebody's expertise. Who though? That's what you need to figure out.
Right.
And then align yourself with that person and problem solved.
And it's a lot easier to find those kind of people in masterminds and groups like RBO for sure.
What advice would you have, like right now, if you talked to the version of you in 2004 that was initially starting out? Hey, watch out for 2008.
Yeah, outside of the obvious,
man.
Hey, just so you know, there's a recession coming. Save your money. Like, what are some of the mistakes? Like, if you were legit just talking to either somebody starting out as in the construction industry, or you were just talking to yourself and being like, hey, bro, look out for this, or maybe do this sooner, or like what would be like the meat and potatoes of that?
So if for sure to figure out your business as quickly as possible.
Meaning?
Your numbers. We talk about it. Life is all numbers, right?
Yeah.
Figure out your numbers. Make sure you're paying attention to your numbers, because especially in the construction industry, I mean, we run a high volume of cash through our hands. But there's not a lot of that's ours. You pay subs, you pay suppliers, you pay all these other people. So like I said, for me going forward, like if I'm telling myself back then, it's like, watch your freaking money, invest in something, invest some money.
Not a new pickup truck.
Not a new pickup or a new boat or a new this or a new that. You know what I mean? Like, invest your money and become disciplined with your money. When you become disciplined with your money, then you realize that it's not that I don't make enough money, I got a spending problem. You know what I mean?
That's usually what it is.
That's usually what it is every time. So get rid of the spending problem and invest that money into something. You know what I mean? And then, like younger back then, I didn't have $200,000-$300,000 that I could go drop on a couple of lots and build some spec houses. Very fortunate that we do now. But back then, I didn't know about money. I didn't learn about money. Get inside money, figure out money, learn how money works, and visit with people that know how it works and learn everything you can about how money works. Back then, I could have been dumping $1,000 a month into a Roth IRA, 401k, anything, right?
Get it out of your hands.
Get it out of your hands.
Into something else that has the ability to grow.
The ability to grow, use the compounding interest. I've preached to Kaidden, you know what I mean? Like him and his wife, go get your self-directed hour, go get whatever you can get. And I don't care if you're putting $100 a month into it.
Create the discipline.
Create the discipline, create the thing, and then just keep pumping money into that and forget you ever had it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I didn't learn anything about money till way later in life. And that, I think, was a huge issue.
Yeah.
I would have done some things majorly different as far as investing goes and things like that. I mean, had I done that stuff 20 years ago, even if I would have only been putting 20 grand a year into that account, I mean, I would have a substantial amount of money where now I could, in my business, I could just go buy my own development.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to go play with the dude to get the development.
Yeah.
There's enough money probably there that the bank will say, hey, we'll talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, so definitely a money and a discipline thing and the self-development space, man, for sure. Take yourself serious. Put in the work and keep putting in the work. Keep showing up.
Yeah.
Because when things get comfy, and I mean, in 2004 when I started, I think it was like 2006 or so, it was
fucking gravy train, bro.
dude, I mean, any jackass with a hammer was making money.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, you saw that on the streets, bro.
You
all had the big trucks and the boats.
Yeah, you know, and I mean,
There was a lot of big trucks and boats for sale in 2009.
right.
Yeah, sweet good deals. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, like, just like I said, discipline with your money, and continue to work on yourself. I didn't really do any kind of self-educating. You know what I mean? I've always been fairly fit guy. You know what I mean? I love going to the gym. I'd spent a lot of time in the gym. Had a bunch of surgeries the last couple of years that kind of definitely put a dent in that. And that's kind of when I was like, I'm a year out from my last one, and I just kind of feeling like, I needed to wake up, and that call was just, I don't know what the hell was in that call that you said, or something triggered something, and I was like, dude, I gotta make some changes. I don't know if it's because I got a boy that's going through a hard time right now, and I was like, I gotta be a better example for him. Anyways, so just that triggered some things, and I'm like, I gotta be better. I gotta do better. There's so much more out there. This isn't it. You know what I mean? And if I had anything, it'd be learn about money and live well below your means.
Create a strategy around your money too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like learn about it, then create a strategy around it. It's not just knowing your numbers or whatever. It's not just looking at a P&L once a month either. It's like creating a strategy like you talked about. Hey, we need 3 bank accounts. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to handle our finance. It's not just, we profited 50 grand or 100 grand this month. It's like, okay, what are you now doing with it?
Yeah.
Like you said, the IRA and make an investment, buy real estate, do something with it.
Right.
So that it has the ability. I mean, the future's coming whether you like it or not.
And they're
bright.
And for those younger guys, like the P&L's great. That's fantastic. Your balance sheet's more important.
Mm-hmm.
Dig into your balance sheet because that tells you your right now problems.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I do too is there's so many, I can't make any pivots or any corrections or do anything different in my business. And there's a ton of these younger guys, because I used to do it too, is I'm that dude that's out there in October 15th trying to file taxes for the year. Get your taxes filed at the beginning of the year. Get your shit done, get it ready, get it filed, because then those things will tell you what changes, if any, you need to make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't, if you don't know what you need to change, and then you go a whole nother year just doing the same shit.
Yeah. You got 3 months to hurry and try to change or something at the end of the year. And it's like, fuck, I'll start next year.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, I'm huge. Like my guy knows, like when shit comes up, I'm the first one in your office.
Yeah.
Let's dig in. Let's get down. Let's get dirty. Let's figure it out. And then we make those pivots from there.
Mm.
And then I got that whole year. And then I don't waste the whole, 9 months doing the same damn thing.
That caused the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my other thing too. I would tell myself, get your taxes done.
On time.
On time.
Yeah.
Get in, get your shit.
Pay quarterly.
Pay quarterly.
So you don't think that you have more money than you have.
Get your shit organized and get your taxes done. Pay your quarterlies. Pay everything.
Yeah.
And just keep paying.
Yeah.
It's probably got to be most business issues, those money problems, isn't it?
Well, I always say a business only has usually one problem, and it's a sales problem. Either they have too much or they have not enough, right? Usually, the rate of growth doesn't happen at a perfect trickle where it's coming in where you could strategically grow in a manner in which is non-chaotic.
Right.
Usually what ends up happening is you start a business and you got a sales problem. I need more sales. I need to make more money. I need to generate revenue. And then you have this need for an extended period of time. So you operate like you have this need trying to fill that gap. And then eventually that time collapses of work, the gap, and then result. Now you're starting to experience the result. So now you're getting a ton of sales. Now you have a fulfillment problem because of too many sales, right? Do you have the right people? Do you have the right systems? Do you monitor your finances right? Because when you expand and you grow and you have too many sales almost, that's when it becomes super important. And what most people do is they throw money at it. In other words, let's just hire more people. When in reality, you could be way more efficient with less people by having great systems or processes.
Right.
The systems and processes create less chaos. And if you already have chaos and you just put more hands in the pot, in other words, hire more people, all you're going to do is increase the chaos because now you have more people without structure, right? And so that's really what it comes down to is either, so you don't have enough sales. So in reality, you've got either a networking problem, you have a marketing the awareness problem, not enough sales. And then you don't have an awareness problem. You have a too many sales problem that comes into more of your back end of like, how do you service these people? How do you fulfill it? In other words, it starts falling on the team. So first it's more networking, marketing to bring sales in. And then it comes down to what do your systems and processes look like in order to handle the fulfillment that you have now with the rate of growth that you've experienced based upon the work you put in, is usually the one or two problems, but it's the same thing. It's all boils down to sales,
Right.
Too much or not enough, right?
Exactly.
And if you don't have enough, then your only focus should be on revenue generating activities. What could I be doing? And going to a golf course doesn't sound like a revenue generating activity, especially when you're trying to grow and build. But in reality, it is a revenue generating activity if you have the intention of developing a relationship in which has the ability to be fruitful. You're never going to be worse off for knowing more people.
Yeah.
More people that know you, that know what you do, that are in your industry, that has the ability to do business with you. It's just a numbers game. It comes down to numbers, right? More people that know, the more opportunities that you have, right?
Yeah.
Not enough sales. What is that? That's a numbers problem.
Yeah.
Too many sales. That's a numbers problem. Like how many people do I need on the job site in order to fulfill that amount of work, right? How many people in the back end of my organization do I need in order to, it all comes down to numbers. How many people do you need? How much money do you need to spend on marketing? How much time should you be spend doing? How much time should you spend working on the business? It all comes down to numbers. I should be spending at least 10 hours a week on developing relationships. And then the other 30, like what's the number? What's the equation that you should be spending on versus in, right? What's the equation? How much should you be spending for growth on the marketing side? How much should you be spending in terms of sustaining that growth and supporting that revenue? And like, dude, everything I do is based upon numbers. It's like, give me the numbers.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you what decision needs to be made. Show me the numbers.
Yeah.
I won't even tell you. I'll just interpret
Yeah.
what the numbers are saying. No, we can't do that. Or yes, we should do that. Right.
Yeah.
So have you had any respect issues on job sites being younger at first? I'm guessing a lot of the relationships that you guys have now are probably you've had for a few years, but were there respect issues at any point that you felt early on in the process?
Yeah. I mean, like,
kind of like, dude, you are where you are because your dad, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the obvious first one, like that's going to happen to, I think, anybody kind of in my position. I mean, like
naturally, they're going to let us, okay, you're just you're getting handed this because of pops, like, because people don't want to believe that you're actually outworking them.
Yeah, well, and then like
They don't want to say, well, he's probably a hard worker. He's deserving.
yeah,
People don't give credit like that.
like, no, they don't. I mean, like there's certain areas in the business that I didn't have to learn. I didn't have to do the hard work. I'm grateful for those things,
Yeah.
but I'm building upon that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sustaining that and hanging on here like like a leech because
Yeah.
I can just stay here.
I'm not here to pick up a paycheck.
Yeah,
I'm here
I
to
can make
grow
a good
a business.
paycheck. Yeah, so that was. I can brush that one off easy
Yeah.
because I know who I am and I
Yeah.
don't need validation from somebody else to feel right about what I'm doing
You
every
can
day.
understand them having a skewed perspective.
Oh yeah, yeah.
based
Well, there's other
on-
people I look at that are the same situation, and I'm like, fucking idiot.
Yeah,
But I'm like,
because a lot of the times it is true.
Right.
It's very rare to have somebody who's like as hardworking and shows up the way that he shows up.
yeah.
Most people will feel entitled, like, yeah, I'm just going to go work.
And that's why I wanted to build my presentation of like when I meet somebody on site, when I'm discussing plans or scheduling, like I want to hit you harder than like you've ever been hit before with like information, knowledge, like professionalism.
Yeah.
Because I want you to be like a lot of times there was probably a time for, the first couple of years people understood I was young. You could tell I hadn't done it before. So I'm kind of fiddling over some stuff. Like I'm not sure how to communicate certain issues. But once I got past that, I just quit telling people how old I was. I was like, you can just assume. Like I'm just gonna try to act like I'm like 30 or 35. I don't know. I mean, I'm just gonna do my job and get the shit done, dude.
Shake you in the hand and stare you in the eyes.
Like I'm just here to do work. You're here to do work.
Make it.
Yeah, I'll be 30 one day,
Yeah.
So I just kind of took the brunt of it that way, and I kind of use like whatever I got as like negative feedback as just fuel. Like I'm like, I can't resent these people for their outlook on me, but I can use that to be a better version of myself.
Yeah.
To then come back to them and gain their respect.
And prove them wrong. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's happened tenfold.
Yeah,
like
sure.
I've had plenty of job sites I've been on. Like a couple of years ago, we did a really really big commercial job, and I mean, I was fluent in everything, running shit smooth. I mean, like there was a couple of guys that were like, dude, like what are you looking for as far, your retirement strategies and this and that. And like these guys were talking to me like I was like 35 or something. I'm like, dude, I'm like 24. And they're like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, yeah. I don't tell people that on purpose, like I don't want people to know that because I'm young means I'm enabled as far as knowledge and skills. Like I'm going to work harder and work faster to try to gain the knowledge. I'm not going to get everything, and nobody knows everything, but if I can show these guys like, hey, I have a purpose here and I'm meant to be in this position and I can work with you, and anytime you need something, I'm here. Like that's all people want.
Yeah.
They want somebody that's good for their word, that's going to be there on time, do things they need to on time. And if you're structured, that's all people really care about. I mean, it's in every business, right? Like you're relying on people to do, even the minute tasks. If those aren't getting done, you're going to start losing faith in those people. So
there's no doubt about it.
You got to check the boxes,
Yeah.
Every day, like everything's good. These people got here. I'm not getting subs to houses before they need to go. I hear complaints about other contractors, and it's nothing that I concern myself with, but I'm like, all right, like I'm not doing those things. So that's a good thing, like, oh, my HVAC guy's like, oh dude, I get to a house and they don't even have the damn furnace ready for us to wire. There's not even paint on the walls. We're here 3 weeks too early, shit like that. And I'm like, God, I've never done that before. That feels kind of good, like I've had hiccups, but like I've never done that before. So, I mean, yeah, you get it, but like it's one of those things where you just got to prove yourself. It's like anything else.
It might be an uphill battle. It's a little bit of a hurdle to overcome, but it's nothing that can't be done with literally just showing up with the right attitude and having a good work ethic and having the skill, the knowledge, the know-how.
Yeah, I could have let it
You
be.
can easily overcome that just by the way controlling what you can, because you can't control what somebody's perspective is initially, if it's skewed or not, but over the course of time being in your proximity, it's like, okay, I see why he's got the opportunity.
Well, when he was younger and just started into the management side of things, he would get a little wound up, and a client would say something, or a subcontractor would say something, or something like that, and he'd be all wound up about it a little bit. And I said, give it 24 hours, and then respond to it. What's that? And I'm like, there's no emotions in business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? you can be sympathetic and you can be all the things, you know what I mean? But there's no emotions.
Yeah.
When you react off of emotions,
It's usually not going to be good.
it's not what you're after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually the emotion that you act upon immediately is a trigger.
Yeah.
It's a trigger emotion. In other words, you're offended. You feel a need to defend yourself. And then after defending yourself, throwing a jab.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, well, we're jabbing now. Hey, here's the right hook, you little mother. You know that, man. It's like, bro, go get some Z's, bro. Put the day behind you and then look at it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And then be like, sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, or something like that.
Well, and you condition yourself to hard conversations, you know, like once you do them a ton, like after the first couple of years of emotionally involving me, every time something went wrong, I was like, all right, I figured this out. Like I can just be reactive when I need to be, but in a very proactive way. Like how can I react to this situation to benefit both me and whoever else I'm having a disagreement with?
Well, when you're emotionally immature,
Yeah.
being younger,
It's just
trigger.
Right.
You know, and then being in the game long enough, it's kind of like you can take that 24-hour window and shorten it and finally get to the point where your emotional maturity is so high where you can respond to that email immediately.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, because you're putting yourself above the situation emotionally and just handling it in a logical state because you're just kind of, you know who you are, you're confident, and you allow that to speak rather than being young, piss and vinegar type shit.
I'm going
like,
to take over the world.
I'm going to show you.
And most people, once they realize that you're calm, cool, and collected, they don't.
My bad.
Yeah,
it goes away. You're right.
It goes away, right? Because it's like they can't get a rise out of you.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, dude, I'm here to help you solve the problem.
Yeah, the kid that gets picked on, dude, is because your reaction, bro.
Yeah.
You stop reacting.
Yeah.
What's the point? You're no fun no more. You know, it's kind of how that works. And so.
Well, it's like for me, like I get psychological about it. Like I've learned the psychology of situations, you know. So like I don't feel like it's like manipulation, but I can work my way through a hard part or hard thing with a client or a subcontractor to where we both win, even if they were so furious that there was no avail for me, you know, like, because there's situations where people aren't happy, you know, they see something and they're not happy. It's, dude, you're not going to avoid that. Like it's going to happen, you know, it's how you fix that or how you go about that conversation that makes like me sleep at night.
That's now the foundation of the relationship of having them watch how you handled something that was bad, and it's like, oh wow, they handled it well. Now the foundation is even more solid. It's like, bro,
we're more trusting. Like it brings people closer together. Yeah. Like, hey, you can trust me.
Difficult conversations are only difficult when you're not used to having them.
Yeah.
Because usually we think of all these scenarios in our head of how it's going to go down and make it be much worse than it needs to be, and then you have the conversation like, oh, that wasn't so bad.
No, it's
usually, and then you hear yourself up about, I'm actually glad we did that. That was kind of, it's a monkey off my back, and now it's still really open. Yeah, and you're like,
and especially with like the subcontractors, suppliers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
to make things, once those hard conversations turn into a mutually beneficial situation, then they're like,
the respect level for each other
goes through the roof, and they're like, hey man, I can work with this guy in the future.
Yeah.
And so then when you'll run into that one thing where it's like, dude, I really need this, and he's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Because he knows that's just,
you've gone through
all
the flows of building a relationship through tough conversations or you know, being candid with people rather than just telling them what they want to hear. In the construction industry, a lot of people, what that'll be done in 3 months.
Yeah.
A year later, it's like, what's up, right? Yeah. Like, are we almost done yet? Right. No, you said 3 months, right? So a lot of people aren't used to people actually following through with what they say. Mm-hmm. They're trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. Like, shit, I already spent money. We need to get a new job and get a deposit in so that we can finish this job. You know, that's part of building a business, you know? Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, right, most businesses start out as Ponzi schemes. Oh yeah,
how can we get people to believe us? Man?
Yeah, like it's like figure it out as we go. We don't know our expenses, and you take a deposit, and it covers all that. And it's like, fuck, we need to get more jobs just to be able to keep fulfilling jobs because of the overhead. And it's like turns into kind of a Ponzi scheme. If you don't have any new business coming in, you can't fulfill. The previous one that you've already took a deposit on. But eventually, that's why it's important to know your numbers and know your money so that you can kind of get ahead of that, where you've got a good reserve, and that doesn't become the case. So
Yeah, for sure.
man, it was awesome having you guys on.
Yeah.
You know, I thought about it a few different times, and then I started chatting with your pops. I'm like, bro, you come down and pick up your liquor
Yeah.
out of the back of my truck that will just sit on the shelf now for a minute, and let's chop it up. So it was awesome to have you guys on. So actually, after you introducing your dad to RBO, and then him being in the group, digesting all that, and that's like a full circle moment that he brought you into the business. You brought him into self-development and podcast, and then it's like, here we are.
Oh, this is big.
Like 5 years later.
It's crazy, because like there's been a couple times. So my wife Sean actually introduced me to your podcast. She was doing hair down here.
Shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out to her.
Yeah.
She was a go-getter, man. I mean, she's doing the mom thing. That changes life for her.
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
It's such a cool change. But she was go-getter, and she's like, dude, you gotta listen to these guys. Back when it was you and Kel, and he's like, dude, this is crazy. These guys live in St. George, and I'm like, whoa, this is, there's celebrities next door to me, And in my head, I'm like, oh my God, these people are larger than life. And so, that transition,
Larger than life. Well, maybe the results that they produce are, but their bodies are just 9th grade, 8th grade. What about the bank account? The bank account. Oh, it looks good.
No, but it was funny because she dropped me off here a minute ago, and I was like, you probably ought to run inside and say what up to Trev, like you kind of fostered this thing, So I told her, I was like, when we finish up, you're going to have to come say what up to him for 2 seconds.
Yeah, she can come scavenge through all the RBO shirts.
Yeah, dude.
I told you we have a bunch of smalls, extra small. Oh, I need whatever Travis doesn't take. Yeah, whatever he doesn't take, she could have, it might be triple X. She wear it as a nightgown or something, hanging around the house and whatever. I'd love to meet her. I'd love to meet her.
No, it's cool. It's super cool for the full circle.
Yeah, it is
So
awesome.
we need to get his ass running now.
Hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. Make sure you're rating and reviewing the episodes. Other than that, guys, keep kicking ass. We'll see you next week.